Hey, this is Keith at Half Tracks and Honeybees. Kind of a foggy fall morning. Nobody at the park but me. Kind of like it that way. Just cruising by the old millstones. You see the one that freewheeled with the round hole, and then the dripping stone that had the parts carved out for the drive mechanism. And I just love this place. There used to be an old mill here. I'll insert a picture. And folks come out here to play in the creek and to look at the waterfall. And most of them don't really have a clue for the history of this place. To me, all these old stone walls are just amazing. Now some of these rocks are going to be a little bit slick, so if I fall and bust my butt, we can all laugh together, okay? Up here on the upper side of the waterfall, you can see the walls extend all the way up here. It goes downhill pretty steep here. You can see the remains of the wall all along this side over here. You see this column here, maybe part of one left up there. I believe that's where the trough for the water actually came down to the right of that big tree. It came right down through here. Then the mill actually set down in that hole over there. A couple of the big foundation stones are still there. Now imagine how they moved those stones back in the 1800s. Amazing. And some more of this beautiful rock work. I know I had a great, I don't know how many greats, uncle, Samuel Spillman, that worked here at the mill. Lived back in the 1800s. His wife's grandfather owned the mill. And I actually remember as a kid coming down here when the mill still stood. It wasn't in operation. It was just an old black building, like an old barn, but it still had the stones in place and you could walk around inside of it. That would have been late 60s, early 70s. I think shortly after that they probably tore it down. Then later on the county bought it and made a park out of it. So that's kind of cool. It used to be a spot for hoodlums. Kind of like me when I was a teenager. dirt road, a little one-lane bridge. This was, it wasn't a family park at that time. Let me just put it that way. But now I do a lot of honey business here. This is a great place to meet folks when they want to buy honey. Look how beautiful that is. And we're supposed to have some freezing temps early next week. So it will, that'll be probably the end of the color. The leaves will fall pretty quick then. But that's just beautiful. So we'll maneuver on down this hill and try not to crash. And this will give you an idea how big this rock is. I mean, this is me standing beside of it. Think how much that rock weighs. They obviously moved it. They might have had some kind of a crane mechanism, but it was mainly horsepower, mule power, and manpower. There's that wall again. So this was the lower part of the mill. So I think the trough would have came down through here. That might have been the back side of the trough behind those rocks. Then that was some more foundation. In the back of the mill was that rock wall. But I'm not sure about the whole life of the mill, but towards the end, when you look at that picture, you can see it didn't really have a wheel on it. The turbines or the wheels were underneath the mill, kind of running horizontal, not vertical like a wheel. And then that's what drove the stones up through the floor. But yeah, folks come to enjoy the waterfall, play in the creek. But they miss out on so much because they just don't know. The miller's house, all that's left is the foundation. It's up on a hill across the road. It burned down many years ago. It was supposedly a home for a motorcycle gang for a while. I think it was the Jokers, maybe the Outlaws, but I think the Jokers. Somebody in the comments might know, but probably not. That's ancient history. So like I said, this was not necessarily a nice place there for a few years. But when my dad was young, he brought corn over here on a mule. That would have been back in the late 20s, early 30s, when the mule was still in operation. The old family farm was back over that direction. He would tell a tale where one time something happened. A limb swung around and slapped the mule on the butt, and the mule took off and threw him off, and he had to walk back home. But thankfully the mule knew the way home, so it was there before he was. But you can see some more of that rock work. Going way on up through here. So this was quite a place at one time. Can't you imagine back when it was first built how beautiful this was? You know, lots of communities had their own mill You had lots of mills throughout the county. Because like I said about my dad riding a mule over here, they had to be in the communities. You couldn't ride 30 miles to the mill. The mills had to be close enough you could make it there and back in pretty short order. But yeah, you can see the wall extends all the way back here. Look how far away we are. Pretty amazing. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little walkabout. If you did, click the like button. If you like all of my various videos, please subscribe to my channel. And make sure you always take time to enjoy the buzz. Y'all take care.